Hi, all. Welcome to this week's version of Nolte Lightning Talks. Today, we're going to talk about finding the good within mental illness. I'm going to talk a little bit about how anxiety and panic attacks have pushed me to grow and take control of my life. I felt this is a relevant topic in general. I think work can have a great impact on how we feel every day. I've personally felt anxiety, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that shortly. Also, just what's going on in the world today with the coronavirus, and knowing that there's likely going to be some emotional impact that people are talking about that will be greater than maybe the physical aspects of the actual virus. So I felt after talking with some people recently, I felt like this was a really relevant topic to discuss. And I have um, a lot that I can talk about related to my own journey and how I'm actually grateful for anxiety and grateful for the lessons that I've learned. To me, I feel like there was a really deep and powerful message that anxiety has provided for me. Just to talk a little bit about the data, anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness in the US. They affect 40 million adults at the age of 18 or older, and they're highly treatable, but only 36.9% of those suffering from anxiety receive treatment. Um, and that's really where I'm finding that talks like this and conversations around mental illness, anxiety, and depression, and different things that people are dealing with are really important. Um, you know, only 36.9, so that means 36.9% of those 40 million people are suffering, and that could be all day, every day. That could be in short, all different varying degrees of anxiety. To help illustrate this, one of my favorite references, and I remember vividly, is well, let's just get into it.
At first it felt like ginger ale in my skull.
Whoa, what's wrong? You all right?
I don't got time for these fucking attacks.
So, for those that don't know, that it was Tony Soprano in The Sopranos, and to me, that's not been my personal experience with panic attacks or anxiety, but the feeling is there and the emotion that I feel when, you know, him talking about, I don't have time for these fucking attacks. It's really, I've had really debilitating experience, and that's what helped to push me to grow. And just to talk a little bit about my goal in sharing this information is, anxiety was a message and a wake up call for me to change my life. I mentioned that I'm really grateful for it, and I formed a new relationship with anxiety and panic attacks. I'm happy to say I don't really deal with them too often. It's way more of the anxiety, and that's on a day-to-day basis. And I'm hopeful that sharing my story and what has and has not helped me would help others to maybe find hope, some of that 36% to try to find a way to move past and feel better. I think we all deserve that. So this is a really important an important thing to just talk about in general. As I even go through this, I have a little bit of anxiety just from the presentation aspect of this. So proof is there. So just to talk a little bit about, I'm just really going to focus on the past couple of years. In 2018, I had my first panic attack. It was fairly mild, and I remember being in the office that day. I felt like I was going to faint. I really didn't know what was wrong. I was very confused. And I decided that day, I talked to some people on the team. I was shared that I wasn't feeling well and I was going to just go to the doctor. And I remember riding my bike over the Manhattan Bridge to go to the doctor that day. That's the only place I could find an appointment. And I remember feeling just like I was going to faint and fall off of my bike. In hindsight, definitely not the best idea to be riding my bike while feeling that way. But I wanted to get to the hospital also, so there was some urgency there. There was maybe some mild anxiety. I don't know that I really was able to fully identify it, but in going to the doctor that day, they shared that nothing was wrong with me, and I was really confused. And I left, and they shared hey, meditation, some of the things that I'll talk about in this talk. And that day, I really didn't do much about it. And then moving into 2019, it was around March, and I was working in our Mexico City office. There was a ton of stress within the business. We had money issues. I was trying to get a loan. I was denied for the loan. I really had no idea how I would keep the business alive, nor what I would do. And I just had a really bleak outlook on things. I had no idea what my future looked like. I was spending 10 hours a day in the office trying to make the business, quote unquote, work. And I was just really obsessed over the thought of failure. I had a ton of fear. I felt really alone and lost and scared. And there was one night I was going home. It was about midnight. This is in Mexico City where we work on the 3rd and 9th floor. I went down. There's basically 2 floors and a 12th floor before you get out to the ground floor. The way that they've engineered the elevators in that building are another story. But basically, coming out of the elevator, I just felt incredibly dizzy, and my heart started just beating and racing, and I just really couldn't breathe, and I felt like I was going to die. And I sat down, and I didn't know what to do. I had that feeling from the last year, but it was nowhere near this extreme. I was just super panicky, and I had really no idea what to do. I had sweaty palms. My heartbeat was super irregular, and I felt like something was really physically wrong, like I may die. And just to talk quickly about what anxiety is, it's fight or flight. It's your body's response to stress, and that's the nature of it. That was my body sending a message to me that I need to change something. And it's such an extreme feeling that it's hard to know exactly what to do in those instances. What I could share today, I feel really happy and grateful for all the things that I have in life. I have not had a panic attack in at least 6 to 8 months. I can't remember the last time I have. And my anxiety is managed. I have a new relationship with it. I understand it, and I can identify it when it comes up. And I feel better overall. So to talk about, what I've done along that journey to really develop a healthy practice around my mental health. One of the first things that's really proven is cognitive behavioral therapy. And this is It's short-term goal-oriented psychotherapy treatment. And basically what it does is it's looking to change patterns of the way that you think that are beyond your like capabilities without getting help. And that's where a therapist would come in, and it's really to help the way that you see or your perspective on things and help the way that you feel. And that's, in general, that's helped my mood overall in a great way. And I've indicated on these with just a star of the things that I'm currently doing today. And I'm doing them today because they've helped and I believe in them. My focus, after having the panic attack in 2019 was really like by any means necessary. I needed to feel better. My anxiety was debilitating. I would like get on the train. I felt terrible almost every day. And, I really just tried to do everything that I could to feel better. So meditation and yoga, that's something that I, started with, and I'm still developing a deeper practice, more so on the meditation side. Yoga, I practice yoga about 3 times a week. And there's an aspect, and I've grouped those because there's an aspect to me of meditation within that. And within meditation, I wake up every day. For the most part, I'm still really trying to get the everyday thing. When I travel or my routine changes, it makes it a lot more difficult. But I moved from 5 minutes, and now I meditate about 20 minutes every day. And I have an Ashtanga yoga practice. And both of those, I can say for sure, work. There is science and data and information to back all of that up, as well as the cognitive behavioral therapy. I've also heard a lot of positive things around CBD and THC. CBD I tried for a while. One, it's expensive, and I think there's just a lot of hype around CBD. That's my personal opinion. I did do some research. There's not too many studies. I know people say that this has helped them. For me, it did not do too much. THC which had been much more helpful. I was using that pretty much to sleep. Another thing that I'm currently, and THC is not like a regular occurrence for me, but that is something that I'll use on occasion. And it has definitely helped my anxiety and helped me to sleep. In some cases, or certain types, like sativa versus indica. Sativa is known to produce more anxiety. So indicas are definitely what I prefer and have helped me. Microdosing is something that I started towards the end of last year. And microdosing is psilocybin. There's Dr. James Fadiman, the Fadiman protocol. It's a known method. There's also a website called microdose.me. And that is something that has been proven to actually increase anxiety. And I've experienced a little bit of that. But just in terms of maybe treating depression or other aspects, I've found microdosing to be super helpful and super powerful. Medication was also something that I tried. I'm using Klonopin on an as-needed basis in only extreme cases, which I try to really get more in touch with the anxiety, and I feel like that's much more helpful. I've noticed when I do take medication, I will feel the effects 2 or 3 days later of more extreme anxiety. So for me, it's more about getting in touch with that. But I've also tried SSRIs, which are serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So that basically helps increase the serotonin. General healthy lifestyle, having a routine has been really helpful and important for me. Support network as well. The team at Nolte, there's a lot of support that I get from the team and feedback there that is really helpful for me in my life and in my work that I've been able to be more receptive on. I also speak with therapists on a weekly basis. I speak to a leadership coach, which I started working with last February. That has been immensely helpful. And friends and family as well. And, the message in all this is that you can feel better. And, having a trusted support network, whether that's friends or family, talking about things that, may be challenging or difficult, sharing that with others, talk therapy or CBT is really helpful. Developing a healthy lifestyle and, there's a million things. That's a whole deeper topic all on its own. And I think experimentation, just everyone is different. We're human. We all have different needs, and doing self-assessment to try to see what's working and what's not, and experimentation has really been beneficial for me as well. So thanks for tuning in. Please feel free to leave any comments, share this video. I'm really open to feedback or questions or comments. Again, this is something that is close to me, and I feel it's important that the message is shared. Thanks.